Numbers chapter 33, recounting Israel's journey. These are the stages of the people of Israel when they went out of the land of Egypt by their companies under the leadership of Moses and Aaron. Moses wrote down their starting places, stage by stage, by command of the Lord. And these are the stages according to the starting places. They set out from Ramses in the first month on the 15th day of the first month. On the day after the Passover, the people of Israel went out triumphantly in the sight of the Egyptians. While the Egyptians were bearing all their firstborn, whom the Lord had struck down among them, on their gods also the Lord executed judgments. And so the people of Israel set out from the Ramses and camped at Succoth. And they set out from Succoth and camped at Etham, which is on the edge of the wilderness. And they set out from Etham and turned back to Hahiroth, which is set at Baal Zephon, and they camped before Migdal. And they set out from there before Hahiroth and passed through the midst of the sea into the wilderness. And they went a 3 days' journey in the wilderness of Etham and camped at Marah. And they set out from Marah and camped at Elim. And at Elim there were 12 springs of water and 70 palm trees, and they camped there. And they set out from Elim and camped by the Red Sea. And they set out from the Red Sea and camped in the wilderness of Sin. And they set out from the wilderness of Sin and camped at Dochba. And they set out from Dochba and camped at Alush. And they set out from Alush and camped at Rephidim, where there was no water for the people to drink. And they set out from Rephidim and camped in the wilderness of Sinai. And they set out from the wilderness of Sinai and camped at Kibroth Hattava. And they set out from Kibroth Hattava and camped at Hazeroth. And they set out from Hazeroth and camped at Rithmah. And they set out from Rithmah and camped at Rimon Perez. And they set out from Rimon Perez and camped at Libnah. And they set out from Libnah and camped at Risa. And they set out from Risa and camped at Kehelatha. And they set out from Kehelatha and camped at Mount Shipher. And they set out from Mount Shipher and camped at Harada. And they set out from Harada and camped at Mikloth. And they set out from Mikloth and camped at Tahath. And as they set out from Tahath and camped at Terah. And they set out from Terah and camped at Mithka. And they set out from Mithka and camped at Hashmona. And they set out from Hashmona and camped at Moseroth. And they set out from Moseroth and camped at Bene Jaakan. And they set out from Bene Jaakan and camped at Hor Haggidgad. And they set out from Hor Haggidgad and camped at Jotbathah. And they set out from Jotbathah and camped at Abronah. And they set out from Abronah and camped at Ezion-Geber. And they set out from Ezion-Geber and camped in the wilderness of Zin, that is, Kadesh. And they set out from Kadesh and camped at Mount Hor on the edge of the land of Edom. And Aaron the priest went up Mount Hor under command of the Lord, and died there. In the 40th year after the people of Israel had come out from the land of Egypt, on the first day of the first month. And Aaron was 123 years old when he died in Mount Hor. The Canaanite, the king of Arad, who lived in Negeb in the land of Canaan, heard of the coming of the people of Israel. And they set out from Mount Hor and camped in Zalmonah. And they set out from Zalmonah and camped in Punon. And they set out from Punon and camped in Oboth. And they set out from Oboth and camped in Ir Abarim, the territory of Moab. And they set out from Iyum and camped in Gibbon Gad. And they set out from Dibon Gad and camped in Almon Diblathaim. And they set out from Elam Diblathaim and camped in the mountains of Abarim, near before Nebo. And they set out from the mountains of Abarim and camped in the plains of Moab by the Jordan at Jericho. And they set out from Jordan from Beth Jeshimoth as far as Abel Shittim in the plains of Moab, drive out the inhabitants. And the Lord spoke to Moses in the plains of Moab by the Jordan at Jericho, saying, Speak to the people of Israel and say to them, When you pass over the Jordan into the land of Canaan, then you shall drive out all the inhabitants of the land from before you, and destroy all their figure stones, and destroy all the metal images, and demolish all their high places. And you shall take possession of the land and settle in it. For I have given the land to you to possess it, and you shall inherit the land by lot according to your clans. To the large tribe you shall give a large inheritance, to the small tribe you shall give a small inheritance. Wherever the lot falls for anyone, that you shall be his, according to the tribes of their fathers, you shall inherit. But if you do not drive out the inhabitants of the land before you, then them whom you let remain shall be as herbs in your eyes and thorns in your sides. They shall trouble you in the land where you dwell, and I will do to you as I thought to do to them. Psalms 78 verse 1 to 39. Give ear, O my people, to my teaching. Incline your ears to the words of my mouth. I will open my mouth in the parable that I will utter dark saying from of old, things that we have heard and known, our fathers have told us. We will not hide from the children or tell to the coming generation the glorious deeds of the Lord and his might and the wonders that he has done. He established the testimony of Jacob and appointed the law in Israel, which he commanded our fathers to teach their children, and the next generation might know them, the children yet unborn, and arise and tell them to their children, so that they shall set their hope in God, and not forget the works of God, but keep his commandments. And they should not be like their fathers, a stubborn and rebellious generation, a generation whose heart was not steadfast, whose spirit was not faithful to God. The Ephraimites, armed with the bow, turned back on the day of battle. They did not keep God's covenant, but refused to walk according to his law. They forgot his works and the wonders that he had shown them. In the sight of their fathers, he performed wonders in the land of Egypt, in the fields of Zion. He divided the sea and let them pass through it, and made the water stand like the heap. In the day he led them with a cloud, and at night with a fiery light. He split rocks on the wilderness, and gave them drunk abundantly as from the deep. And he made streams come out of the rock, and caused waters to flow down like rivers. Yet they sinned still even more against him, rebelling against the Most High in the desert. They tested God in their heart by commanding the food that they craved. They spoke against God, saying, Can God spread a table in the wilderness? They struck the rock so that water gushed out and streams overflowed. Can he also give bread and provide meat for his people? Therefore, when the Lord heard, he was full of wrath, and a fire was kindled against Jacob, and his anger rose against Israel, because they did not believe in God and did not trust in his saving power. Yet he commanded the skies above and opened the doors of heaven, and it rained down on them manna to eat, and gave them grain of heaven. Man ate the bread of the angels and sent them food in abundance. He caused the east wind to flow in the heavens, and his power had led the south wind. He rained meat to them like dust, winged birds like the sand of the seas. He let them fall in the midst of their camp, and all around their dwellings. They ate and were well filled, for he gave them what they craved. But before they had satisfied their craving, while the food was still in their mouths, the anger of the Lord rose against them, and he killed the strongest of them, and laid low the young men in Israel. And in spite of all of this, they still sent it despite his wonders they did not believe. So he made the days vanish like the breath, and the years in terror. When he killed them, they sought him, and they repented and sought God earnestly. They remembered that God was their rock and the Most High their Redeemer, but they flattered him with their mouths. They lied to him with their tongues. Their hearts were not steadfast towards him. They were not faithful to his covenant. Yet he, being compassionate, atoned for their iniquity and did not destroy them. He restrained his anger often and did not stir up his wrath. He remembered they were what they were, but flesh, a wind that passes and comes not again. Isaiah 25. God will swallow up death forever. O God, you are my God. I will exalt you. I'll praise your name, for you have done wonderful things, planned forms of old, faithful and sure. For you made the city a heap and fortified the city a ruin. The foreigners placed the city no more. I will never be it will never be rebuilt. Therefore, strong people will glorify you. Cities of ruthless nations will fear you. For you have been a stronghold to the poor, a stronghold to the needy in his distress, a shelter for the storm and a shade for the heat. For the breath of the ruthless is like a storm against a wall, like a heat in a dry place. You subdue the noise of the foreigners, and as heat by the side of the cloud. The song of the ruthless it is put down. On the mountain the Lord hosts will make for his people a feast of rich food, a feast of well-aged wine, of rich food full of marrow, of aged wine well refined. He will swallow up on the mountain a covering that is cast over all people, the veil that is spread over all nations. He will swallow up death forever, and the Lord will wipe away tears from all faces, and the reproach of his people will take away from all the earth. For the Lord has spoken. It will be said on that day, Behold, this is our God. We have waited for him that he might save us. This is the Lord. We waited for him. Let us be glad and rejoice in his salvation. For the hand of the Lord rests on this mountain, and Moab shall be trampled down in place, as straw that is trampled down in a dunghill. He will spread out his hands in the midst of it, as a swimmer spreads his hands out to swim. But the Lord will lay low his pompous pride together with the skill of the hands and the high fortifications of his walls. He will bring down low, lay low, and cast to the ground to the dust. 1 John chapter 3. See what kind of love the Father has given us, that we shall be called children of God, as we are. The reason why the world does not know us is that it did not know him. Beloved, we are God's children now, and what we are and what we will be has not yet appeared, but we will know that when he appears, we shall be like him, because we shall see him as he is. And everyone who thus hopes in him purifies himself as he is pure. Everyone who makes practice of sinnings also practices lawlessness. Sin is lawlessness. You know that he appeared in order to take away sins. In him there is no sin. Anyone who abides in him keeps on. No one who abides in him keeps on sinning. No one who keeps on sinning has either seen him or known him. Little children, let no one deceive you. Whoever practices righteousness is righteous, as he is righteous. Whoever makes a practice of sinning is of the devil. For the devil has been sinning from the beginning, and the reason of the Son of Man appeared was to destroy the works of the devil. No one born of God makes a practice of sinning, for God's seed abides in him, and he cannot keep on sinning because he has been born of God. But this is an evident who are this but this it is evident who are the children of God, who are the children of the devil. Whoever does not practice righteousness is not from God, nor is the one who does not love the brother. Love one another. For this is the message that you have heard in the beginning, that you shall love one another. We shall not be like Cain, who was at the evil one and murdered his brother. Why did he murder him? Because his own deeds were evil and his brother's righteous. Do not be surprised by this that the world hates you. We know that we have passed out of death into life because we love the brothers. Whoever does not love abides in death. Everyone who hates his brother is a murderer, and you know no murderer has eternal life abiding in him. By this we know love, and he laid down his life for us. We ought to lay down our lives for the brothers, that if anyone has the world's goods and sees his brothers in need, yet closes his heart against him, he does God's law abide in him. Little children, let us not love in word and talk, but in deed and truth. By this we shall know that we are of the truth and reassure our hearts before him. For whenever our heart condemns us, God is greater than our heart. He knows everything. Beloved, if our heart does not condemn us, we have confidence before God, and whatever we ask we receive from him, because we have kept his commandments and do what pleaseth him. This is the commandment, that we believe in the name of the Son of Jesus, his Son Jesus Christ, and love one another, which he has commanded us. Whoever keeps his commandments abides in God, and God in him. And by this we know that he abides in us, for the Spirit whom he has given us.